What's up, everybody? It's your girl Kiwan, and I am back with another episode of Tyler Perry's Sisters, Season 9, Episode 12, Search Party. Before I start, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video I drop. Y'all make sure you like all the videos. That keeps me in the algorithm, all right? Shout out to all the new subscribers. I really hope y'all like my content and all of the things. Make sure you go check out my live from a couple days ago from my new segment called Healing Out Loud. Hope you enjoy it. And with all of that being said, let's just jump into the episode, because y'all just saw a lot of things as a viewer that was just like, and I had questions. So anyway, we picked the scene back up with Danny and Sabrina, and they're sitting on a call with Aaron. It's still like a roundabout conversation about Karen being missing, and the note that she left, and did anybody call Andy, yada yada yada. So Aaron tells them nobody knows the severity of Karen, so they cannot say what she's going to do or what she's not going to do. And that is true, even Aaron. And although Aaron's the only one who next to Lisa, Aaron's the only one that's been in that house with Karen. He's been seeing her behavior. So that's that on that. So Gary, y'all remember we left where Gary came in and he wanted to talk with Andy. So he tells her, he asked her for 5 minutes of her time. He's saying, you won't hear from me again. And I think immediately all of us was like, yeah, right. So Gary tells her, he want to make things right. And she said that he could never do that. So he tells her he regrets how he treated her, how he controlled her, how he also admits to being manipulative, narcissistic, and controlling. And she said, you say the same, just a different day, right? He claimed, let me not put that. He apologized to Andy for all the pain that he caused. Now, for me, I got a lot of sincerity. Like Medea said, it ain't no sincerity in it, okay? But Gary put the R's in sincerity, okay? So I kind of low-key, not high-key. He don't get that from me. But I believed him. And we get this montage of Gary and Andy. And I just need the writers to not make these toxic situations and relationships look like it was so healthy over the years. Because on top of all of the narcissistic, controlling, manipulative behavior that has progressed in Gary over the years, you had Andy, who was just dumb and acting like she didn't have no self-esteem, and that's just what it was. The writers made her look like she didn't have any self-esteem. And if we're gonna keep it a buck, y'all don't have her with too much self-esteem. Y'all got this hoe with too much dip in her chip. Okay? It's all... I'll get there. Anyway, I just don't like how the writers, just like they did with Karen and Zach. As we know, Zach and Karen to be on the scene, their stuff been toxic from the beginning. Just like Gary and Andy. It's been toxic since season 1. And so y'all want to make this a love thing. It was never a love thing. Let's not forget, she was fucking a married man. And she knew he was married. But that's not on her. He knew he was married. But then we skip to in season 1, where he squeezed her until she passed out. We could just start there. Or we can start when Jasmine came, broke in her apartment, or it's a lot that we can do. But what we cannot do as writers, I'm not a writer, but what y'all should not do is make this toxic situation look like a love story, because as a viewer I was not convinced. I hope I'm not complaining, but I just wanted to point that out. So Gary asked her, can she talk to the man that he was and not the man he has become? And I felt like that was another Unless somebody explained it to me in the comments, I felt like that was another ass backwards scene, because you will want, if you've changed, you will want her to talk to the man that you're currently are, because the man that you was terrible. All right. So Andy is just like, yeah, Gary, you hurt me, but hold up, ho. Okay, because is you cool? Because you not finna sit here and act like no damn victim. Okay, you had full knowledge of who Gary was. Full knowledge. And you knew how terrible Gary was. But yet you stayed through all the bullshit because you loved him. You didn't leave him because he was married. You stayed with him because the dick was good. And that's just the bottom line. And if we're going to talk about that, that's what made you, that's what kept you in love, slipped in love, or whatever this was. How you lost everything, how you had to get everything back, how you almost lost your life, how it was the lies, the manipulation, how he stalked you when he bought you the condo. You're just not gonna sit here in our face and act like you're some type of a victim. You wasn't. You had a choice to leave so many times, and then you went back. Anyway, let me also point this out. The fact that your friends were collateral damage to you and Gary's bullshit is another reason why you're not finna sit here and act like you was a damn victim. All right. So we get to Zach, Fatima, and Chaz. Chaz claimed he wanted to check on Fatima and to take back the purse from her. He tells Fatima, I like you. And I'm just looking at Chaz like, first of all, Tyler, why are we writing him in here? Why are we keeping him in here? His contract has been thought over, and now that should be done. We shouldn't see Chaz anymore, because Chaz is being very problematic. I don't understand. Y'all know Zach had came outside because y'all know Zach wanted all the smoke. Chaz had the audacity to call Zach insecure. You're sitting here. You have been disrespectful from the moment you met Fatima. You are still being disrespectful. You're constantly being disrespectful, and you're mad because he's checking you. I don't understand. You got all the hoes in the world, yet you want to try to come and get a pregnant, engaged woman. And all the women, you could get a woman at the drop of a dime, but you want somebody you cannot have. But Zach is the one that's insecure, but yet you choose to be disrespectful. Do better, writers. Do better. So, Maurice has quoted my favorite line. Shout out to Jocelyn Hernandez, the Puerto Rican princess. Okay. Hey, maid. I see you have on your maid outfit. Oh, child. So Maurice said, so homeboy came over, Paige's brother. I forgot his name. So he came over. So Paige's brother was like, ooh, that smell good, what you cooking? He said, oh, he hit him with the, what's her name from Waiting to Exhale? Gloria. Oh, just some leftovers, a little collard greens, a little collard greens, cornbread, a little candy yams, a little potato salad, fried chicken, peach cobbler, and a few slices of ham. And I'm just hearing this menu like, high blood pressure, anybody? I also am looking at Maurice like, why are you so nervous? Like, Maurice, like this, him and his man, it has Maurice shaking like booty meat, and it has him nervous like a hooker in church. Which further lets me know that I feel like low key Maurice like him, and he's gonna constantly, instead of just I need the writers to write Brian in seriously and give him more character development. Not because of something tragic, but just give him character development outside the funny, flamboyant Maurice. We just need him to have some serious moments. All right. So then we get to Sabrina, Pam, Danny. Everybody goes over to Pam is already there. Sabrina and Danny makes it there. Only thing from this scene I wanted to point out, I just don't like how these heifers, let me rephrase. I'm gonna just go ahead and rephrase what the hell I wrote. These hoes always decide they want to talk to Pam. And then the fact that everybody keep reading a note like it's actually supposed to change something. Like something is just going to stick out. Pam is, for me, has gotten a bit annoying. And what pisses me off is that y'all have her in this scene. She doesn't have any urgency into finding Karen. You won't look on social media until after you order your wings. Like, we need a whole lot of growth and maturity, character development for Pam. Like, we don't always just need her to be serious, unserious when it comes to roots to rags to riches, roots to riches, or whatever it is. We need her to show up better. Writers, that's another one. Do better. Character development. So, Zach and Fatima. I'm going to tell y'all what pissed me off. Only thing that pissed me off, Zach had some nerve screaming at Fatima, going off on her like none of his hoes ain't show up to their house. Then he kept saying, this is my house. Boy, you ain't that house. The way, if I was with Fatima and would have went back to my house, you had all of your women, just people just showing up, disrupting this lady life. The woman you love. So now there's one guy, and yeah, he was disrespectful, and I'm not excusing anything Chaz did, because what Chaz did was some bullshit, and Chaz, to me, is a boy. All right? But this, it's almost like you're trying to make Fatima prove to you that she's not cheating on you. She's not doing anything behind your back. First of all, sir, I know you're hurting. Deal with that shit and work. Deal with your shit over here. Okay? Because it's spewing over here. Anyway, Lisa and Aaron. Aaron asked, and he asked the right questions. Outside of, because Karen is probably the strongest person, one of the strongest people on there. And yes, you do have to check on your strong friends. And Aaron has been really patient with Karen, no matter what. He showed up. He's always been there, making sure she's good, making sure the baby's good, trying to make sure she's eating, and all of the things. And I feel like because they both share baby faith, he has the right to ask questions. He has the right to question Karen's mental capacity. He asked, how can Karen do this? She's been irresponsible and inconsiderate. And so Miss Lisa gets mad and tell him to cool down on how he's talking about Karen. And I just need Miss Lisa to know, whether you want to hear it or not, this is why your daughter has shown up to be a trash-ass human being due to the lack of correction that you have given her. Aaron is right in his frustration because that is his baby as well. So your daughter needs to do better. Get her some help. Get help. And not put everybody through all this fucking worry and pain because of your stuff. Like, I get it. But everybody's different. But sometimes I think the thing that gets me when I'm in my stuff, and I will say this, I do not drag people along with me. I do not hurt anybody with me. But that has a lot to do with it's a mixture of a lot of things. But with this, you take the baby, you leave your keys, and it's something could have been, I think for this, I feel like the writers are going to drag this out just like they dragged out her pregnancy, but it won't be as long. And I think it was just something simple as probably Karen taking a baby a walk. And I think Aaron is just, everybody's just really nervous. But I do feel like they're going to come back and say, oh, we just took a walk. I don't know. I get Karen is postpartum. I'm not discounting her postpartum. I'm not discounting any of that. And forgive me, because I dealt with postpartum. And I also understand how it triggers you and you take things out on people closest to you. So I will say that I can relate to Karen. So let me stop and say that. The problem I have is not Karen's postpartum. It's the lack of correction and the lack of frustration that it's almost like Miss Lisa doesn't want Aaron to have as it relates to this situation. He has a right to feel how he wants. Just like Karen has a right to feel how she wants, Aaron has that same right. Because he doesn't know, just like you're worried about your kid, Aaron is worried about his kid. The difference is your kid is a grown-ass woman and his kid is a helpless baby. And he trying not to think the worst. But at this point, he doesn't have a choice because she didn't leave y'all a choice. So I just wanted to say all of that because I think it's the way everything is being written is a bit annoying. This episode was good. It was just some things that I was able to kind of step back, point out, and see. So, yeah. Maurice. Again, character development. Maurice can never have a serious moment. I just want to be able to see that. Not because somebody had a hate crime against him. Y'all remember that? Just a serious moment. We see that Maurice hasn't thought about marriage or dating. So, there is that. Andy and Gary. He asked her how she's doing. She said she's better. Andy, no, you're not, because you're lashing out on the people that are closest to you. I don't know what this whole energy that you have, but you are very well lashing out and you need help. Anyway, she tells Gary that night could have been prevented if he would have left her alone. Andy, please. We're not even finna do that. All of this could have been prevented if you would have left him alone. Sometimes you cannot leave it up to people to leave you. You have to do the moving. And you have to stand on it, but you never stood on business because you've allowed your emotions and your feelings and your heart. It overrid everything else. It caused you to have bad judgment. You made poor decisions. Everything when it came to Gary, you both have shared responsibility in this terrible situation. Everything Gary has done to you, it has cost somehow the people around you, the people that you love. And then you take him back again, which is why Danny came in the way that she did. So she asked him why now. He said why is he the villain? Why did he do all of those things? He said that he was tired of being nice. When have you ever had a nice moment? I guess that was way before the show started. I don't know. And he said the old villain Gary is gone. Fine, Gary. Gary tells her he's leaving for Ghana in 2 days with his kids. Okay, good riddance. Okay, first of all, let me say this. As a viewer, we've watched this show for 9 seasons. It is going to be hard not to see Gary go if we're going to keep it a buck. Even though we did not like Gary, we needed an antagonist, not Hayden. He's an annoyance. Gary is the antagonist. So yeah, they're definitely going to probably going to shine the bright lighter on Hayden in his annoyance, and that is going to annoy the hell out of us. Okay, so Andy says, wow. Gary says he wants to get his life in order, And then Danny comes over. She walks out. She walks into Andy's apartment. And let me say this. I know and Danny was supposed to come at that time. But I feel like the level, I guess I don't really do closure, but some people do. And I think the closure portion had been interrupted by Danny. And when she comes in, her moments are so Medea-like. It's so, sometimes can be unserious. And so it just kind of ruins the whole scene. It ruins parts of the scene, if that makes sense, y'all. So Danny comes in. He apologizes to both Andy and Danny for all the things that he's done, and he left. So this is my question. So is Cheeto really leaving? It absolutely looked like Cheeto is making his exit, and that's it. I'm not sure. I checked his Instagram. I didn't see anything. The only thing I saw was him, I guess, going to be in some type of movie, TV show. I don't know, some type of role, but I didn't check the date on that either. And another thing is Cheeto from Ghana? Like, is he originally from Ghana? I don't know. I checked. I didn't see anything. So, but sometimes, does Tyler usually bring people back on his shows? I don't remember. But I don't know. And I will say I will miss Cheeto. I know that Gary was the worst, and I said all of this stuff about Gary. I do. But it's going to be different without Cheeto there if this is his exit. And I like the way they did it. I just don't like how Tyler, I think what gives me PTSD when it comes to Tyler and exiting people off is how he did the haves and the have-nots. Everybody got it. And I just thought that was awful. Anyway, Zach gets a phone call. Someone on the phone telling him Karen was missing. Again, this was another poor decision on the writing. Why? Because he was already drunk. I get that y'all wanted him to know, but because I don't know. I just felt like him being drunk, him getting his phone call, him getting out on a road, possibly injuring somebody. Like, I guess maybe I'm too much of a forward thinker, and maybe I'm thinking too much into this. But I just felt like, yeah, no. If he was sober, that would be different. But we didn't see him talk to Fatima or anything like that. He just left. So Andy and Danny have a conversation. Andy tells Danny what Gary has talked about and that he needed closure. Danny asks if they both needed closure. She tells Andy, that Karen is missing. And then Danny asks her about Dr. Vaughn. Andy tells her, so now Andy is on this whole thing. I'm grown. I can do what I want, and I don't have to tell anybody. Okay. That is where Andy is right now. I can't get mad at it because we all are like that. But I think it's Andy's disposition. It's how she's showing up. And it looks almost like she's being bitchy to everybody. So Andy accused Danny of being jealous. And Danny calls her a narcissist. I guess my question is Andy becoming the new Gary? That would be odd. That would be terrible. Okay, like, I don't know. I will say this. I know that the Andy that is showing up is getting on everybody's nerves. But we also knew that the Andy prior to everything that has happened was a pushover Andy. And I'm not going to lie. I like that she's tough. I just don't like the mistreatment that she's doing with her friends. That's two totally different things. You can show up strong, but I think she's masking that energy and she's mistaking it. Like, she's masking, she's carrying this energy, but it's coming off rude. It's coming off like asshole like. It actually reminds me of season 6. If you did not watch Scandal season 6, Olivia Pope pissed me off. Okay, season 6, Olivia Pope pissed me off, and that is Andy. So Zach comes over, Brett smelling like a distillery because he had been drinking all that liquor, and he wants to help search for Karen. Aaron tells Zach that they looked all over the place, but they hadn't had a chance to find Karen. Zach reads the note, and he doesn't know what the note means. Aaron asks Zach do he think that it's something to do. Aaron asks Zach, do you think it has anything to do with you? And so Zach was like, no, I don't think it has anything to do with me because our chapter is done. Well, Zach, that may be true on your end, but it may not be true on her end. Just because you say it's done, it doesn't mean anything on her end. Y'all just lose a kid. Just always keep that in mind. So Andy gets a call from Dr. Vaughn, and the ladies want Andy to put it on speakerphone. Of course, she doesn't want to because she's grown and she can do whatever she wants. And so she asks about, has she seen Karen? Tell him Karen is missing. And she was wanting to know, what did they talk about? Of course, Andy, he cannot talk about details. Just like you're an attorney, you can't discuss details to him unless it's some type of medical and you're representing that person and you need medical information that requires documentation. Okay? Anyway, we get over to Fatima. She gets a phone call and it's Karen, and the episode ended from there. So I'm pretty sure Karen, I hope that once she talks to Fatima, once Fatima locates her, this is going to be a shift in Karen. I would like there to be a shift in Karen so she can move forward, get the process going and moving forward with her everyday life. But I also need them to add her into therapy, just like Andy. Like, get them into their therapy to seek some sort of treatment. All right, next week I guess Zach gonna go off on Fatima again. It looked like it's gonna be a mess. I'm here for it. Y'all, for real, let me know what y'all think in the comments. This was actually a pretty good episode. I thought this episode was pretty good. I just there was some holes. And another thing, speaking of holes, she didn't have her phone with her, so how did she know Fatima's number? I'm just not liking how Fatima's address is pretty accessible and her phone number is also accessible. Like, how did you know her number? Nobody has to answer this question. It's just a question that I have watching the show as a viewer. Like, you left your phone and you left your keys, and it looked like she called from another person's phone. But how did you have her number unless you had it in your pocket before you left? You knew to take it and you wrote the number down. I don't know. It could have been a plethora of things, but that was just a question. So I can't wait to see what their conversation is actually going to be like next week. And hopefully, again, as I stated, this will be the shift that Karen needs to get her life to pick things back up or whatever. Anyway, tomorrow is Thursday. I will have a clip. I will put a story up about the Real Housewives of Miami. That depends on how I'm feeling, because I decided not to review any of the reunion. I'm just going to watch it. And something else that comes on tomorrow, I want to say Reasonable Doubt. No, Zatima. So I'll have 2 episodes of Zatima. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do reasonable doubt tomorrow or Friday, but I will have those things up. So, and I'll see you in the next one.